Hello and welcome to Hearing Your Future, the Coding Your Future podcast. My name is Duncan, I'm your host, and I'm on a mission to help you design, build, test, and code your future in computing. In this podcast, we'll talk to current and former students of computer science to find out more about their journey from student to professional. What's their story? How are they coding their future? What obstacles have they faced and how did they overcome them? Finally, we ask our guests what advice they'd offer their former selves and fellow students and where are they headed next. My guest today is Rosie Halsall. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Science in 2025 when this episode was first recorded. During her degree, she did 2 internships at the Bank of New York in London and Manchester before accepting an offer to return on their graduate scheme. Welcome, Rosie. Thank you for coming on the show. Could you tell us a little bit about, well, firstly, your name and how you got here today?
Yeah. So I'm Rosie. I have just graduated from the University of Manchester with my Bachelor's in Computer Science. And I'm about to go start my graduate programme at BNY, Bank of New York.
In Manchester, London?
In Manchester, production services.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And how did you come to study computing in the first place? What made you think you wanted to study that for 3 or 4 years or however long?
So originally I was, since I started really liking physics, so from maybe when I was 15, 16, I wanted to do physics at university and I was kind of stuck on that. I had thought through all the steps. Then as I was about to enroll for my A-levels, a computer science teacher at my college came up to me and she was like, Rosie, you shouldn't do philosophy, which was the 3rd subject I was going to do. You should do computer science. It'll be great. You can, you don't need to come into all the classes.
What was her name? Can we name check her? Is it
Kay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
Kay Arrowsmith. She was fantastic. But she was for context, I had been ill for a while and this was my first time actually going into a school setting for years. So the idea of not having to go in for everything, that was a positive because I could do a slow progression in. So anyway, I was yes, I'll try it. If not, I can just
try
switch.
it as an A-level. So you did computer science as an A-level. What other A-levels did you do with that?
Maths and physics.
Right, okay.
So the classic.
Right.
Yeah, and then literally within a few weeks, I was okay, I'm doing computer science now.
Right. Enjoyed it.
I like physics still, but it was the logic.
Had you done it as a GCSE as well?
No.
So this is really sort of first exposure to it. That's quite a big step going from 0 to A-level.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when I actually went to high school, I hated IT.
Yeah.
I mean, I think...
Those kind of PowerPoint and...
Exactly,
Word
it was how to use Excel and Word and
which,
PowerPoint.
I mean, people need to know, but...
Yeah, but...
It's not...
So, when she brought computer science up, I still had the point of view of, it's going to be similar to that.
Right.
Plus some programming. Obviously, it is not. I know that now. But it was good.
Right.
It was a good A-level.
Good. So you enjoyed the idea, and I suppose it was during doing the A-level that made you think, actually, yeah, I'd like to do this more, rather than doing physics, which is a great subject to study as well.
Yeah.
You thought, no, actually, computer science is going to be more suited for me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you arrived here, it's 4 years ago now.
Yes.
So can you talk us through your first year or first couple of years? I know you and any sort of work you did along the way.
So my first year...
Paid work, I mean. Academic work.
My first year was... I mean, it was a good year. I did well, but I was very much out of the loop with Kilburn, should we say? So
this is in COVID? Are we talking...
This was...
Where are we at with COVID? We're 2001, right?
2021, yeah, I think I started.
So we're coming out of lockdowns, presumably.
Yeah, so the first semester, it was... You could choose to come in or you could choose to do it online.
Right.
People were wearing masks, there wasn't much social distancing, but it was still, like, people were aware.
Not normal.
Yeah.
Like, not 100% back to normal at that point.
So I was wanting to come in as much as possible to campus, but I came into Kilburn maybe twice.
Right.
That entire year. Because I would go to, like, lectures in, like, Uni Place, and engineering building was, like, the main building I would go to, actually. But Kilburn, I didn't know that there was a big lift. So, again, I know this is a podcast so people can't see, but I use a wheelchair. So there's the little lift at the front of the building. There's a huge lift at the back of the building. I'm not a fan of the little lift. So
it's very slow.
It's very slow.
Get out. And
yeah.
When you change floors, you have to change lifts, kind of thing.
And it makes noise. And like, if you're with people, you can only get in by yourself. So it ruins the conversation. So yeah, I only came into Kilburn twice, and I only found out about this big lift at the very end of first year. And I was like, well, who'd have thought?
It would have been useful to know about that earlier.
It would have, but to be fair, it's like, I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
Then after that, every other year I was in Kilburn, like, all the time.
Right.
But
I mean, like, every day?
Most days.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quite late, honestly.
So, how was it adapting from studying at A-level to studying at university? Was that, for you, I guess, maybe an easier transition than some, because you'd been having to teach yourself quite a lot at home?
Yeah.
So making that transition to university perhaps less of a leap than it was for some people.
Exactly. So, like, going back, I'd missed quite a lot of high school, taught myself a lot. So I was just, with GCSEs, I had, the council funded, like, 1 hour maximum per subject a week.
Right. Of contact time.
In
real time with a human teacher.
Yeah. Sometimes I wasn't well enough for that, so it would be like 20 minutes instead.
Right.
Which isn't really much for like, you can't do much with that, but it was just to ask questions, I guess.
That's 1-to-1, I guess, is it?
Yeah,
because
it was 1-to-1.
Of the nature of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can get quite a bit done, to be fair, when it's 1-to-1.
Yeah, and it's personalised then as well, a
Yeah.
little bit, so your teacher gets to know you a little bit better than they might do otherwise.
And then the rest of the time, it was just books. Is it the CGB books?
Right.
That was like my godsend. So I would literally just go through them, write notes, answer exam papers, watch videos on YouTube and stuff like that. That's how I sat my GCSEs. And then A-levels was like half in college, half at home.
Right.
COVID happened, everything was at home. I was well suited for that because I had all of these years before that already doing it. And then now I also had friends who were doing it, so we could talk.
Yeah.
And it was easier than it had ever been.
Like study groups kind of
exactly
thing. Yeah. Okay, good.
And then university was like, I suit, like, my learning style suits the university's learning style with, like, the flipped learning approach where you have videos, you write notes, you come in, you ask questions, you talk to people. Like, that's my jam.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So during your first year, at what point did you decide I want to do something in the summer? You were looking for internships at the beginning of your first year, or did it come later? Because some people might know the minute they get here, the start of first year. I mean, not everyone.
Yeah, no,
a
but
minority of people, but some people do. And they're plugged into that straight away. But most people, it takes a while to sort of sink in.
So I was wanting to do an internship in first year, but then I was like, I remember my family talking to me because I was sending off applications, and then they're like, but Rosie, think about it. Like, if you also want to do an internship end of second year, so why don't you just, like, enjoy the summer? So I did. And then second year I had my first internship,
Right.
And then...
Did you do like an insight week, or was it straight into the summer?
So I actually really struggled with... So I sent off so many applications to begin with so this is now in second year. Like, I started September, October time.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my friends were all just sending off applications together and sending each other links. And that was not good for me. I hated it. And
it's quite demoralising, because you can spend an awful lot of
Mm-hmm.
time doing applications, 90% of which you don't hear anything back from.
Like, the thing is, for quite a few of them, I would hear back. Like, my CV would get through, but then it would be the next stage where it's...
First interviews, or like
it would
psychometric tests, that kind of stuff?
The psychometric tests, or the video interviews where it's just a camera. There's no actual person asking the questions.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Talking to a camera
Yeah.
on your own in your bedroom.
And, like, you can see the counter
going
down and you're like, okay, I've got to fit star into this 1 minute. How do I do that? You have 20 seconds to read the question and prepare your answer.
Remind me what STAR is for people who haven't heard of it.
Situation, like the task. Action, reaction / result, response. Yeah. So it's like the ideal interview answer, they say. So yeah.
It can help you structure an answer if your mind goes a little bit blank.
Exactly.
You think of, when I was doing this,
mm-hmm.
I was tasked with doing this. Here's what I did.
And
these
were the great things that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
That I caused. But, like, anyway, those video interviews, they were not for me. So I think after...
You probably got better at doing them, even though you found them horrible. You probably got a bit better at just doing them. It's quite a good exercise.
There was one interview, I think I won't say what company just in case, but there was one interview where afterwards, like, I was at home, I went into the kitchen and I was to, like, my sister, I was just like, I can't do it. Like, this is just not going to work. And then she was like, why don't you just, like, not? And I was like, what do you mean not? Like, I need to get a job. And then she was like, but what if you just specifically found, like, applications where you know if they're going to have this interview or not?
Okay.
And then target the ones you know you can manage. Because I know if I have, like, a face-to-face interview, I'll do well.
Yeah.
I know my CV's good. So, like, there's... And I know I can do, like, hacker ranks and leak codes and stuff like that.
You play to your strengths, right?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll try that. I went to an event, which is where I met the recruiter for BNY. So actually,
Sarah?
Sarah Raza. And, like, I was telling her this, actually, and I'm not sure if I'd do that again, where, like, I'm telling a recruiter my
where I've gone wrong,
my weakest moments in interviews. But she was like, she kept in touch with me. She really helped me, and I got 2 offers from them, actually.
Right.
Like, one for Ops in Manchester, one for Softeng in London.
Right.
So I did the one in London that year, because I'm not an Ops person.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, actually, something that honestly might feel a bit risky, but I think sometimes people do appreciate it when you're honest with them about, like, the worst thing in an interview sometimes is to pretend you know something you don't.
Yeah.
Because then you just come across as being arrogant or whatever.
I think it was actually fine, because we were just having a conversation. Like, it wasn't as if I was, like...
In a formal interview. Right?
Yeah. Like, I was just like, yeah, I struggle with this. Like, what's your, like, do you know, what's your application process?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, we don't do those, actually.
Right.
And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, that sounds good. So it was a natural conversation. So, and I guess it wasn't as if I was, like, bad-mouthing the companies that do it. Because I understand why. They have so many applicants that they have to
But the other thing is,
sift through.
some human somewhere has to sit down. Well, maybe there's AI involved as well, but at some point a human has to watch that video and decide why this one they're inviting to interview and this one they're not.
I think that must be such a tough job. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think at a certain point it's just like
random almost. Well, not random, but
mostly
you're
random.
going to go for little things that persuade you that you're going to have biases, basically, that are going to affect you because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But okay, so you did. So at the end of your first year, you did a summer internship with BNY in London.
End of second year.
End of second year. Yeah. So were you physically in London or was this remote?
I was physically in London. Okay. I was able to stay with my sister, so that was good.
Okay.
My commute was like 20 minutes door to door.
Right.
So that was excellent.
That's very good for London.
Yeah. It all just felt like pure luck, to be honest with that. Because like other people were coming in and they were commuting like
hours.
It was like, that would actually be hell to me.
Yeah, I think that's a yeah. That makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about what your roles and responsibilities were at BNY when you were... Did you say it wasn't ops, it was...
This was software engineering. So this one was production services.
Okay, right.
Then I had software engineering last summer.
Okay, so what was production services?
It's difficult to... It's a weird role. You're kind of sitting between everything. So at the office, like the actual physical location of our desks kind of showed where we kind of were. So there was like sales, there were the physical like foreign exchange traders behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were the software engineers like a few desks down.
Right. And you're kind of liaising with all these people, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's basically errors will happen within trades. There's going to be patterns in those errors, and it was finding why were those errors happening.
Right.
So some of the fixes would be like really quick, like you're just changing some static information.
Right.
Which isn't particularly my interest, but they kind of put me on a side project that I found really interesting in the end, because it was more about some like regulatory issues, which other people will find boring. However, I liked the drama because there was a lot of drama surrounding it.
Right.
And it meant that I could deal with these logic issues that had kind of like fallen through the cracks of like...
The software wasn't doing what it should do because maybe somebody hadn't understood the spec or the regulation or whatever it was.
And then that could potentially allow XYZ to happen.
Yeah.
And that could lose XYZ amount of money.
Yeah.
And so it basically allowed me to think quite abstractly, talk to a bunch of people that I don't think an intern would usually be able to talk to. And
sometimes quite senior people, I guess.
Yeah. And also just like, it was such a range of people, like, that didn't necessarily, like, I was speaking to like traders that I don't think like a normal software engineering intern would necessarily talk to them at a bank. Talking to like the quants team a lot.
Right.
The sales people a lot. Like everything and everyone that I could talk to, I had to talk to them.
And quite a good introduction to business, right? Because you get to see how all these different parts work and how they all fit together.
Which was actually really good because I had no knowledge about finance stuff whatsoever or trading.
Typical computer scientist.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, my knowledge still is very not there. Like,
Well, I mean, you can do a degree in this kind of stuff, can't you? So that's not surprising.
Like, there was one day that my manager, he sat me down and he was like, okay, we're gonna have like a deep dive into this. Like, And he started giving like metaphors about like, okay, you have oranges and apples. You're selling them. What's happening? And I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that internship a lot.
So that was at the end of second year?
Yes.
So you came back after that. That was for your project year, was it? The year after that? Or?
The year after that was project,
So
yeah.
can you talk us, well, I suppose two things really. So it'd be interesting to hear about what the other internship you did was, but also then what your final year project was. So let's do final year project first. So can you tell us a little bit about what you did for your final year project and who supervised that?
Yeah, so my supervisor was Aphrodite.
Right.
Aphrodite Galata. And it was a vision-based project.
So this is completely different to what you've been doing.
Honestly kind of polar opposite.
But I guess that's kind of maybe why you've selected it, right? Do something that you never get a chance to do again, kind of thing.
So it was to do with 3D hand modelling.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, my actual project was like, if you take an image of a hand, how can you accurately represent a 3D hand model of it, including texture? And how can you do it quickly?
So would this be for sort of gesture computing, where I can gesture at a device and it will do something?
So yeah, I had not done anything like it before, and
it's quite interesting. I noticed the other day that on Google Pixel cameras, they've got a thing for self-timer where you hold your hand up.
Yeah, for you like.
And I never even realised that it had that, but I tried it a few times. It only works if you're very close to the camera.
And also,
if you're further away, which is actually when you quite like to use it, it's useless. But it's a great idea.
And also, like the background needs to be not fuzzy.
A difficult problem when you get further away, I guess.
Yeah. Also, Apple, like Mac and iPhones now, like if you're on a call, like even on WhatsApp, if you give like a thumbs up, it'll do like a weird thumbs up bubble.
Right.
Or like my friend the other day, he did like I think he did like a peace sign, and then it did like a celebration thing.
Right.
So like,
I mean, there's kind of those.
It has its.
They sound a bit trivial, but there are sort of useful things of this. Like if you're in a meeting and you want something to happen, like to record an action, say, it would be good if you could gesture to the device to say, right, record that as an action, or you know.
So, like my interest in it initially was that I was wanting to do I'd never done BSL before, but
British Sign Language.
Yeah, British Sign Language. But I was wanting to do it as my non-CS module.
I know that course is always massively oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Apparently it is. If you can get on it, I would highly recommend it because I loved it.
You did it. So you did it in your final year, is that right?
Yes.
Right.
So
I guess is it because the class size is probably restricted to 100 or something?
Well, there was 20 people in each class, and I think there were 2 classes a semester. So then there are 2 semesters of it. So I guess 80 people a year.
I guess it's not the sort of thing you can teach in a large lecture theatre
with
hundreds of people. It's all about using it.
Exactly. And everybody, by the end, everybody like knows each other's name and background story and things.
Nice. It sounds like a good course.
Honestly, it was. I highly recommend that.
And you're meeting people like lots of non-CS students, presumably.
Yeah, like they're all non-CS. And there's a lot of there are a lot of people who have jobs who are just doing it as a side thing after work.
So it's like an evening class, effectively, right?
So I've only done part 1. Actually, next year I'm wanting to come back and do part 2 because it's cheaper for alumni.
That sounds really good.
That was my interest in the project because I was like, oh, this could be really applicable to sign language. And I have big interest in like accessibility based things.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, it all weaves in.
So the hand gesture thing, what did you manage to, how far did you manage to get with that for your project?
So like, I didn't do anything hand gesture based in the end. It was more about texture and if I could make the hand model that already exists and is used as a base model for all of these other different hand models, how could I make that more... How could I make it fit? How could I make that model fit a specific hand?
Right.
So that, like, your knuckles showed, instead of just it being a standard hand with, like, no accurate kind of shape to you. It's like, say, I've got quite, I don't know, some people have, like, very prominent features.
Yeah, yeah.
How can you make that actually show up on the hand?
Is skin colour an interesting angle on this? Because I know, like, some systems are like skin colour is a massive issue that won't recognise certain skin colours.
So, me and my project buddies, basically a lot of the models are racist. So, in terms of, like, talking about gesture, like, they won't recognise a black hand, so then it can't do gesture recognition for a black hand.
Its face is completely inaccessible to
exactly.
you, basically.
And then, because the problem is that all the training data is mostly white men. And if there are any non-white people in it, it'll be like 3 out of 100.
I suppose the other thing is, like, if you've got a finger missing,
like,
an
there
issue?
are no...
Like, if you kind of... Or you've got some kind of abnormality in your hands somehow?
None, like, the training data just doesn't include that.
Right.
So I would be to be fair, I think it would be cool if you could find a way to kind of break down the data. So instead of it looking at it as a whole hand, how could you just look at singular, like, meshes?
Right.
And then if a mesh didn't, like...
So when you say mesh, you're talking triangles, are you?
Yeah,
right,
so, like, the mesh is made up of triangles. So, like, if these vertexes in the mesh of, like, an index finger didn't exist, how could you just ignore it?
Right.
I don't know. I have thoughts.
That sounds like lots of interesting problems there, but you enjoy doing that. It kind of fits nicely with other stuff you've been doing. So that's we've whizzed through your degree. So can we talk about the other internship you did? So you did one in London and you did another in Manchester in software engineering, is that right? So can you tell us a little bit about that and how that was different to what you did in London?
Yeah, so that was in the middle of my third year, because I ended up doing 1 semester, 1 year, took a year break, then finished it off.
So like, is it part-time or full-time during... So you're working, they call it off-cycle, don't they? Sometimes they call them off-cycle internships,
I guess so.
Where basically it means you're doing it at a time of year when not many other people are doing it.
Well,
or not many other interns. Usually they're in the summer, or they're there for the whole year, or sometimes 6 months.
I mean, this was with the other interns. It was just that I had been sick in my end of my first semester of third year. So I was like, okay, I need to take some time out. Did
you manage to complete the first semester of third year and then come back a year later for the second semester of third year? Right, okay.
So it worked well for me because I didn't need to do any exams again.
Hallelujah.
I know. Because that would have been painful. If I'd, like, gotten sick just before the exams as well, that would have been...
So when you come back for your third semester, you were just doing project then, I guess? No.
And the last set of modules.
Right, okay. Right.
Yeah. So basically, in February, like a year and a half ago, I got sick. I was like, okay, I'm going to need to take a break. The only option was to take a full year or...
Yeah, you don't want to repeat the whole year because then...
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Takes longer.
So I was like, I'll take the year off. I'll figure things out.
Right.
My health improved after a couple of months. I already had BNY had already given me a return offer for the internship because they knew I wouldn't be graduating. Like, because they were like, okay, if you can't come for the graduate role, just come back for an internship again, and
Right.
it's your pick. And I was like, okay, great.
So that was what sort of software were you working on? Was it kind of different to what you were doing before? Was it more?
It was Java, Spring Boot,
Right.
JavaScript,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very much software engineering 2 module for the
Right.
people who've done that. On it, like
Lots of agile.
lots of agile, lots of Jira. It was my first experience using Jira, which is like you can see the tasks.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can see the flags to be like, you need to do this now. Yeah.
And that was. I guess you're interacting with less parts of the business at this point because you're just mostly software engineers, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I was only really speaking to software engineers
Or
and
product manager or
yeah, product manager or app manager, they were saying.
right.
And then yeah, like it was quite secluded,
Yeah.
which is why when I was given the decision to like pick one for my grad role, I ended up choosing the production services.
Right.
Just because I like to be able to
Interact more with people.
yeah.
Right.
Also
And I think it's worth saying you kind of get both kinds of software engineers. I think some software engineers are quite gregarious and like meeting and working with people. Others are more introverted and would be happily just,
yeah, definitely.
doing their stuff.
I think it just depends on the team that you're in.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people where like their software, like they're in software engineering, their team is like, they do stuff together. They ask each other questions, they help each other. And like, that is great. And to be fair, I think my team at BNY, the only issue is that because it was split across many locations, so there were some people in Manchester, there were some people in India.
Right.
It just made
time zones.
time zones are really difficult, and it just makes asking for help difficult.
Yeah.
Which again isn't necessarily an issue, but
I think it's a big issue in a lot of software engineering projects because they tend, if you're working anything of any sort of size, there's a good chance you're going to have people who are either on the west coast of America or India or
like
China or wherever, and you that could be quite difficult to manage sometimes.
Like it is something that does just need to happen, but I think I just preferred having a wider range of people to ask and go to for help.
Okay, good. So I think have we covered everything about your degree? I think we have. So internship should gone a long way. So let's look at the next thing here is minority report. So can you tell us about your experience of being? Well, you're a member of two minority and underrepresented groups. One is being a wheelchair user. The other is being a woman. So can you talk about your experiences of those, and then also what employers like BMY and universities like ours can do to make computer science, software engineering better for people from those minority groups or from those underrepresented groups?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question. I have a lot of thoughts on everything, and it's the sort of thing that I could talk about forever and ever and ever. Like, there are not many wheelchair users or disabled people.
Yeah, I mean, it hit me in graduation because I thought, wow, I've been to quite a few graduations, and you're the first time there's been a wheelchair user in the graduation hall.
Really?
I thought, yeah, that's the first time it's happened, and I thought, how's this going to work? Because there was a stage and they had a lift, and
a very slow lift,
and you kind of got a very long round of applause, didn't you? Because as you left the stage, this lift seemed to go a bit like the lift in the Kilburn, but it's very, very slow.
Very, very slow. Like so in terms of graduation, I was a past leader and past coordinator again, and so I'd been in the hall before for award ceremonies.
Right.
And so, like, a few months ago, we got an award and I got to use the lift. And I was like, okay, at least I know how it's going to work. I know how slow it is. I remember...
Like, you're facing the audience, aren't you, when you go down the lift?
When you go down,
right?
yeah.
So on the way up, it kind of doesn't really matter because I guess you're facing...
I mean, I was looking at Uli, going
on the way up. You're looking up,
yeah.
so you're looking at the stage, but on the way down, you're looking out because that's
Yeah.
the way you're going.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was
surreal.
Yeah.
A room full of 300 people or
Yeah.
whatever,
like
all clapping you as you come off the stage.
Well, the thing is, at that PASS Awards, I remember talking to Tom Carroll, being like, "This lift is slow. Like, I don't know what to do about this." And we had a conversation. I was like, "I'm gonna just need to lean into it. Like, it just needs to."
And we should say, because people might not know, it's not that far, is it? We're talking what?
It's like
4 foot?
Yeah.
5 foot maybe?
I wouldn't even say. I feel like it's
3 foot.
3 to 4 feet. Honestly, it's not tall.
And I mean, it's just the way lifts are.
Yeah.
I think they are. Is it like, yeah, you get on train stations and stuff,
Yeah.
don't you? Where sometimes they're a bit slow. But so you have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good to see that you could be accommodated because I thought, well, maybe you wouldn't be able to go to the graduation ceremony at all.
That was honestly years and years ago when I've always pictured my graduation ceremony since I went to my mum's, and when I started to use a wheelchair, that was like one of my few. I would just think about it on not necessarily a regular basis, but it would just be like what's gonna happen? Like, how's this gonna work? Like, if I don't get to go up on stage, like.
And it's it's like it's a symbolic thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like it's a line in the sand, but a milestone says, okay, I've finished now. Like, I didn't feel like my degree was finished until I'd done the graduation ceremony, even though it's just somebody handing a bit of paper. It's like...
It's a closure thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I was just talking to my mum about this, and I was saying how I didn't get closure for A-levels because of COVID, and I didn't get closure for high school because of my health. So the last time
there is no A-level awarding ceremony.
No,
is there?
but
you just
like,
get the certificate in the post, I guess, or you see your results online.
You see your results online, but like, I know my sisters, like, they had, like, they were with their friends when they got on results day. Yeah. With us, it was just, I think I was in bed when I got mine.
Oh, what an anticlimax.
Yeah. So like, it just, I haven't had that closure since primary school, finishing year 6.
Did you have a graduation for primary school?
I didn't have a graduation, but I had a leavers party.
Yeah.
Where we had to dress up as what we wanted to be when we were older.
Which was?
I was an explorer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely not what I'm really doing now. Who knows? Maybe one
you're
day.
Exploring the world of,
Yeah. Yeah.
So where were we? So we talked about. So what can we do? So if we focus on wheelchairs, what can the university do to accommodate wheelchair users better?
Yeah.
And I guess BNY we're accommodating and.
BNY were accommodating, and part of me, so like there's I kind of think about it on how there's like the individual level.
Mm-hmm.
So like a manager can be really supportive, and then there's like the actual company or organization, and they can have things put in place, procedures put in place that can be supportive, and then there's like the systemic. What is society like? That helps. So, like starting from the individual level, or maybe department level, even. Like there's things like in lecture theatres, this was always kind of one of my annoyances, that I don't have a desk in a lecture theatre. I've just got my lap.
Because it's just a space where you can put your wheelchair and there's no flip table or anything.
Exactly. So I can either transfer, which sometimes I'm well enough to do that, sometimes I'm not, or I can steal someone else's desk space on the side. And if I'm not sitting with a friend, that's a bit awkward.
Right.
But, you know, like that's a little thing that the university could do. In terms of work and businesses, and I guess universities as well, it's being open to flexibility of if people can't come in for any reason, it's knowing that there are personal reasons that you can't control.
I mean, I suppose COVID's had an effect where people seem to be more open to these sorts of things now, whereas in the past it was a bit of a foreign idea, the fact that you couldn't come into work. You know, it's like, no, you've got to be here every day, 9 till 5 or whatever, whereas
now,
people
like,
are a bit more accommodating.
Work from home is an actual thing that isn't just... It's not rare anymore, which is good for me. I mean, for instance, like this last week was the weekend where it was really hot. Everything that I have 2 electric wheelchairs and a lift at home. One, my like big electric wheelchair, that broke. It's still broken. My little electric wheelchair just stopped working all of a sudden and then started again after the heat sorted itself out.
Okay, right.
And the lift broke. And this was all in the same 24-hour period.
Right.
And I don't know, like, I was just thinking, like, when I start work, obviously I'll be working in the summer because I won't have summer holidays anymore. There are going to be hot days that something like that will inevitably happen again.
Can you use a non-electric wheelchair, or is that not an option? So
I want to use one, but I don't have one. Right. So
and that would be an extra expense of having to buy a whole other wheelchair and having somewhere to put it.
But that's what I'm wanting to sort that out through. There's a scheme called like Access to Work that the government will fund things to help disabled people, get into work.
Right.
So that's one of my side things at the moment that I need to sort out. Because my thought is, if all of these electric things are breaking that I rely on to get into work, and then I'm having to tell them that everything's broken, part of me just feels like there's going to be an element of disbelief. And that's just my own fear. But I don't know, like 3 things breaking in 24 hours. That feels like a lie because it's so unbelievable.
But we have had some extraordinarily hot weather. Even, you know, it's not often you get that kind of stuff, and I guess, I don't know.
But I think...
You'd hope the technology could cope with that, but I guess it's...
I guess not. But I guess my point is just understanding that things happen. And wheelchairs break a lot. And it is what it is. You just need to be accommodating to it. Yeah. And just because...
So with this appointment today, this podcast today, was going to happen last week, but this is when your wheelchair broke.
Exactly, yeah.
That must be quite difficult because you're suddenly not able to do anything, really.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even I couldn't leave the house for a few days.
It'd be quite frustrating, I imagine. Okay, so that's... anything else you want to say about disability that we haven't already talked about?
I don't know.
Okay. Should we move on to your experience of being a woman in computing?
Yeah. So there's... Again, could talk about this forever. Obviously there are not enough women in computer science. I think Manchester, like, our department's probably...
I think it's somewhere around 20%.
Which is actually pretty high.
I think the national average is maybe a little bit lower, but it does tend to fluctuate quite a lot. So it goes up and down. For example, before Brexit, we had lots of Romanian, Bulgarian students who were disproportionately female because they have very strong mass education in those countries. So we had probably historically slightly higher representation of women, but I think it's about 20%. I think. I mean, have to check the actual data, but it's around. It
That
hovers
adds up,
around
that
there.
adds up
One
to
in
me.
5.
Yeah.
So you kind of notice, and I guess you know all the other women on the course probably.
Yeah.
Because
Like you know their
instantly-
names or you know their faces.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot because our the what's it called, the
sort of cohort.
cohort. Yeah. Our cohort was
Well, it
big.
can be quite a good thing because then you've got. It's like I always think with like computer science and maths, they all know each other
Yeah.
because they're a small, well-defined group in a much larger group,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes that can help. But obviously, it's not good that only 1 in 5
No,
is
not
woman.
at all. I mean, it's kind of it goes back like in terms of like A levels. My computer science and physics class, it was both of them were like 4 or 5 out of the entire 25 to 30
Yeah.
class. And then, I mean, my GCSEs were weird, so I can't speak on that.
Mm.
But
But even earlier than that, I mean, in primary school, the kind of some of these kind of attitudes to
yeah, I mean,
societal attitudes towards it are sort of entrenched, and not whether deliberately or not.
computer science is viewed as like a boy
Mm.
thing. Like, it's not. If you think of a computer scientist or a software engineer, the typical person would think of a man.
Yeah.
And I don't know why at this point, because like women enjoy it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a logical person. I'm a visual person. Like I figure things out by seeing how it actually works.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are other women like me too.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. What can we do? How can we? So just from a just from a computer science point, what could we be doing to make it more appealing?
I mean,
it's already appealing to women, but how can you make it more appealing to women to apply?
this is relevant to disability things as well. And if we look at it from the systemic societal point of view, I think it's a grassroots problem where if children aren't seeing themselves in media, or they're seeing like that maths is boring and science is boring, or that they don't have, the main thing is that they don't have access to some good education where they can see that it can be interesting. Like it's gonna carry on for years and years down the line.
I mean, there's a role model thing in there. I mean, you mentioned your computer science teacher was female, which
Yes.
I don't know I'm guessing the proportion of computer science female teachers follows a similar trend, I
Yeah.
imagine. So you're kind of having female computer science teachers and physics teachers and maths teachers is I guess a part of that, in that that's where a lot of key decisions are made in school, isn't it? It's about what to study. So if you can get more people doing that, that would help.
I mean, like in the UK, you decide what you do as what a 16-year-old really. Like it's when you're choosing your GCSEs that.
Or even earlier, like what GCSEs you're doing, like we were talking about triple science, like a decision to do triple science GCSE
It's like,
will be made at year 9. So we're talking.
so that's 14 actually, yeah. So you cut off options at age 14. So.
And maybe even without realising, right? You might
Yeah.
realise a bit later down the line, actually. I mean, obviously some people don't want to do it, and that's fine. But there might be some people who are ruling it out without realising.
Yeah. I mean, so when I was choosing my GCSEs, this was before I had to like cut it down quite a lot.
Yeah.
I wanted to do triple science. I think my options were like triple science, geography, textiles, and French.
Right.
I had to drop them all because of I had to do it from home and there isn't the funding for it. We had to fight for the triple science to stay. And it's like, it's knowing that if you didn't do that triple science at age 14, if you didn't say yes to that, then you wouldn't be able to do physics or any sort of science at A level. To do a computer science degree, you need to have a science-based A level.
Doesn't have to be physics.
No, but like chemistry, biology.
Yeah.
I think, do they say psychology is allowed?
I think it might say 2 of, it varies slightly, but I think it might say 2 of maths, physics, computer science and chemistry, possibly, something like that. So the third one doesn't matter so much, but, I mean, the one is, maths is obviously the important one, but maths plus one other science. And I don't know if biology counts. I think it must do. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's all on the website anyway.
Yeah, but it's just like you cut things off at age 14.
Yeah.
You make that big decision at age 14 that you don't realise you're making.
So is there anything else? Obviously, getting women to study it in the first place is one battle. There's then when you get here,
the dropout rate.
The dropout rate, but also then that sense of belonging. Like, how do you make this department welcoming and making women feel like they belong here and that they're, as welcome and likely to excel here as any other student?
I mean, one good thing that the department does that me and my friends have talked about before is that, like, with group projects, there's at least 2 women in a group. So it's either all male or at least
so you're
2 females.
On your own. You're never on your own.
Yeah, which I like that in my head has made things much easier to do group work, because it's difficult when you are the only woman in the room.
Yeah.
And you're kind of fighting to be heard sometimes. Then again, if there were more women, then it would be possible for maybe the men to realise that they need to listen to the women in the room. Like, it shouldn't depend on there being other women to hold them accountable, if you get what I mean. But we are where we are.
Yeah.
Trying to think. On our first lecture for my cohort, I automatically, as we were waiting outside, like, lecture theatre to be a uni place, I just saw like a huddle of like 5 girls, and I went to them immediately. We sat together, and then I didn't see them for much of first year at all. We would just say hi when we were like walking on the street, or like in a lecture theatre, we'd be like, oh, hello. And then they ended up being like my best friends now, like 3 years later.
Right.
Like, so like, I think that for the women who are studying computer science, I think it's really important to find them.
Find the peers. The peer support's important.
Find them, talk to them, get help from them. Use them as rubber ducks.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Be their rubber duck. Because it makes life easier. And also you can complain about things together. You can figure things out together.
Yeah.
Okay,
good. All right. So, shall we move on to, you're the next Vice-Chancellor. I've just appointed you the next Vice-Chancellor of the university, and I'm tasking you with improving the quality of teaching and learning. So you've experienced probably some good teaching.
Yes. And
some less good teaching. How can we do more of the former and less of the latter? What would you do? And perhaps not just from a computer science point of view. I mean, you've had obviously experience of studying in other parts of the university. What could we do as an organisation to improve the quality of teaching and learning? What people learn while they're here?
I think it would. So I mentioned BSL before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good if there was an encouragement to use that extra module that doesn't need to be computer science or your degree to go outside of your degree. Because I think, like, there are many different aspects of it, but I think especially for CS people, it helps a lot to kind of get out of the
bubble.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a risk though, isn't it? So
it is a risk.
Because you might completely tank on, you're judged by a completely different set of standards. Well, not completely different, but...
It is a different set of standards, and it's a different grading system.
And like, so for example, there's a module on, I think, history of computer science, which some students have done and loved, and other students have done less good at because it's all essays.
Yeah.
And like, for some computer scientists, I mean, they struggle with an essay because they're being compared to people who are coming from humanities backgrounds who can write essays in their sleep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're being judged against them. And so suddenly it's like, well, I'm interested in this and I want to do stuff from outside computer science, but there's a risk that it's going to pull my average down.
There is that risk, and there is always that to think about. I mean, as soon as I could do that non-CS module, I did it. So I think I did a B-Man one. I think it was like innovation and technology, which was
that was again essay-based.
Essay-based. Right. It was a group essay, which was weird.
Right. Sounds hard work.
But I did it with two of my friends.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
It was still weird, but it did pull our averages down.
How does a group essay work? So you kind of write something together?
Yeah.
Is this pre-ChatGPT or post-ChatGPT?
I think it was the very beginning.
Right.
Because I didn't really pay much attention to ChatGPT at first, but
now it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like right at the beginning when it was just, yeah. Anyway, I did that. I did a MCell, like managing finance, maybe in computer science, or I can't remember honestly. So
to encourage people to do these things because they're good, even though it might impinge on your grades, I guess you're developing a broader set of skills, which would be good. It might mean you get a lower classification, but the upside is you'd be a more rounded person coming out the other end, maybe.
Potentially, I think actually. Okay. I'm gonna kind of shift my answer a bit. I think it's that there isn't enough ethics-based things in the degree.
Ethics, sorry.
Ethics.
Oh, ethics, right? Yeah. Okay.
So
you do a little bit in first year and
in group projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
But there's lots of massive issues with ethics in AI, for example.
Yes. And I think we touch it a bit in maybe a software engineering.
Yeah.
2, maybe.
Bijan's software engineering 1 now covers some of that.
And then UX covers.
Yeah.
That's probably the most a module covers it. But I don't know. I think there are certain soft skills that could be taught more. I don't think you can teach them, but just
it's difficult to measure them. So I
want
to know how good you are.
Them. I think it's less teaching them or even grading them. I think it's giving the space to practice,
to develop them. I mean, I guess you would have done a lot of that through doing pass, and the like. So although it's not part of your degree classification, the you would have gained a huge amount from just doing that without probably even realising, because you've just done it, and then you look back and you think, actually, that was really good, because not only did I get to meet lots of people, but I got much better at communicating, working with people from different backgrounds, that sort of thing. I guess
yeah, you are right. I mean, I would recommend anybody do pass. I am probably biased because I was part of it for years, but it was definitely helpful for me. And I know it's been helpful for many others.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you do as Vice Chancellor? So supporting PASS, encouraging people to get involved in PASS, encouraging people to study perhaps off the beaten track a little bit, not just do classic CS stuff, but look at business stuff, sign language, USIL modules.
I think, I would always recommend don't do that 4th module as a CS module. I personally used each as a little brain break, because it's I knew that some of them would bring my average down, some of them did, but it's just knowing that you don't have tons of content to learn, these extra exams at the end of the semester. Yeah.
Good. Anything else you do as Vice Chancellor then? For you, I think we've covered that one probably.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Good. So the next one is one tune, one book, one podcast, one film. So what would you recommend our listeners go and read, listen to, watch, and why are those things important to you? So let's start with a tune.
Okay, my friends are going to laugh at me with this, but there's a song from Eurovision, I think it was 2021. The guy's called Jean's Tears, and it's I don't even know how to say the song anymore.
It wasn't the winning entry, I
presume.
It
wasn't the winning entry, it was the Switzerland entry.
Right.
And the song makes me cry every time I listen to it.
What's it about?
It's I don't even really know. It's in French.
It's in French.
I don't speak French.
Well, French is a nice language.
It's a nice language, but it hits me hard. It makes me think about life.
Right.
It's Tole l'univers. My pronunciation is terrible, I know.
But I guess sometimes it's a time, right? Because that takes you back to maybe that was an important time when you heard that song.
Yeah.
Like you were doing something that it lodged in your memory.
Yeah. And I have also now realised that each one of these, one tune, one podcast, one book, one film, other than podcast, they make me cry. So that might say something about me. I don't know.
So I'll look that up then. So that's what was the name? Sorry, it was
Jean's Tears.
Jean's Tears. Okay, we'll look that up. I'll find a reference and
G-J-O-N.
We'll add that.
S,
we'll add
Tears.
that to the Coders playlist of tunes. The next one is: do you listen to podcasts much?
I do.
So which would any that you'd recommend that you've listened to?
So this is, I got into physics because of a podcast.
All right.
The Infinite Monkey Cage.
Okay, yeah.
So that was, I would recommend it to anybody. To be fair, people in CS probably don't need to listen to it to get into STEM because they're already in STEM.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It has, you've learned some fun things.
They sort of mix it up, don't they? So there's some serious physics blended with some comedy, usually, isn't there? So it's not all, it's kind of a bit of both.
Yeah. For me, I only started listening to it. This is a bit of a tangent, but it's the reason why I got into STEM. So I had stopped being able to go to school because of my health. I talked to an Ofsted inspector who was inspecting my high school that I had stopped going to because of many reasons. And she told me, and I always think about her, because she told me that I should just not bother with school and going, that it doesn't matter for now, because I was in year 8, year 9.
Right.
And she told me to instead just listen to BBC Radio 4.
Right.
And see if I find anything interesting and just listen.
Follow your nose kind of thing.
Yeah, and that, there's interesting things about just that I would figure out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did. I listened. I ended up hearing Infinite.
And you still listen to it now? I guess?
Still listen to it now. I even went to one of their recordings.
Right.
In London.
In London, right.
Yeah. So
Robin Ince and people
Robin
like that,
Ince and Brian Cox.
And what other guests do they have?
They have like they have
All
just
sorts.
random people. Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, I suppose. Serendipity.
Yeah.
So that's a podcast. One book. Could be fiction, non-fiction. Doesn't matter.
It's a fiction book called A Man Called Uwe. It's Swedish originally.
Uwe is spelled UVA.
OVE.
OVE. Okay.
Yeah.
Uwe.
It's about an old elderly man. He's actually not that old. He's like in his 60s. But in my head when I was reading it, he was like 80, 90. And he's kind of lost. He doesn't care about life anymore. And he wants to die, basically. But then it's about like community and neighbours and what made him kind of lose this joy for life. And it makes me cry.
Right. Okay. Sounds interesting.
It's a great book.
Right. Okay.
It's my favourite book ever.
So that's one book. And what, the author was... do you know? Can you remember the author name? We can look it up, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. A Man Called Uwe. I'll find it from. I'll put it.
I can't remember
notes.
the.
That's okay. The last one is one film.
One film is The Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot.
I think it came out last year.
Right.
And again, it makes me cry.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, there is a theme. When I watched it, I just cried silently for the majority of it, and my friends just commented how they just saw my like shoulders just shake.
What's it about?
It's about a robot who doesn't fit in with the other robots.
Right.
And he's...
Animation? We're talking
it's
animation.
Right?
Is it a Pixar?
I think it... Yeah, I think it's Pixar. Or it might be DreamWorks.
It rings a bell. But
I think it is Pixar.
Right.
But it's just how he fits in with nature more than...
His robots.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really
Or their
see other robots. It's just kind of him.
Right.
And it's a very sweet film.
Right. Okay. The Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot, yeah.
Thank you. That recommendation. We're going to have a look at that. The next one is then Time Traveller. So, and this is quite a big question, I appreciate. So, is you can... colleagues in the physics department have lent us their time machine. You can travel back in time to meet yourself in 2001, arriving here, starting your degree. What do you tell your former self about how to get the most of their time at university?
Ask questions. Ask people for help. Make friends. And like, I know that sounds standard, but I struggled with confidence in first year. I think that's why I was just kind of isolated a bit from computer science for that entire year.
Yeah.
Like, I did my work. I got my grades. They were good, but I didn't really interact with people.
Sometimes you have to sort of deliberately force yourself to do it.
Yeah.
So go and talk to strangers that you haven't spoken to, and you sort of have to go into a different mode sometimes to do it, don't you? It doesn't always come naturally.
And I don't think it... I think because I had spent so long learning stuff by myself.
Yeah.
I think it took a while for me to...
And I think probably a lot of your cohort were probably in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
Because they'd all been studying through COVID,
That's
so
true.
they're kind of, you become a bit self-contained, and actually stepping out of your zone a little bit can be a bit scary.
And I think asking for help and talking to people, I mean, it's the only reason why I probably have this grad job, to be fair, because I mean that was because someone came up to us in the SU and was like, oh, there's an event, do you want to sign up for it?
Right. This wasn't a BNY event, this was something else.
This was, I think it was like, it's not just for boys, IT's not just for boys, that one.
Yeah. And will BNY at that? Or right. Okay.
And so we went. You had to... I didn't realise that it was like there was an interview for it.
Right.
Which scared me a bit, because I had been struggling with those interviews.
Yeah. But this was a face-to-face interview,
it was,
right?
yeah, it was over the phone. It was fine, because, I mean, they want people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the thing to remember about interviews as well, is that they want people, you know.
And the worst thing that can happen in an interview, if you think about it, is that you decide it's not for you.
Yeah.
Or they decide you're not for them. And you still learn something, even if the answer's no.
Exactly.
So it's not always, a bad thing if the interview doesn't go the way you might like.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would say to just talk to people, because if I hadn't talked to the recruiter at that event, then I wouldn't have applied to BNY.
Right.
And she wouldn't have, she called me after each stage of the application process, and it was good. My friends are only my friends because we talk to them. If you don't talk to them, you're not going to make them.
Yeah.
And same for lecturers and professors. If you don't ask them questions, you're going to struggle with what you don't know.
And I know sometimes lecturers and professors are busy and don't always give you the time they can, but
they do have open hours.
We do have open hours, and I think actually people like to be asked questions about
what they care
the
about.
content that they're, or the whatever it is they're trying to teach you, beyond the do you have the seats code? Just kind of ask me something interesting. It's useful for them to know where people are at, right?
That's
true. If there's not a conversation, then it's harder for the person who's teaching to know where are people at with this sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a big lecture theatre is not the most personal of environments, but you can catch somebody after a lecture.
You can. And I mean, you can also just ask on Blackboard if you're really that worried.
You don't want to do the face-to-face thing.
I mean, I one of the most beneficial things was having a friend group that if you're struggling with coursework or you're doing revision, you have people right there who you can just be like, what does this word mean? I've completely forgotten. Or this problem makes no sense. How did you do it? So
that's good advice. Talk to people. Ask for help.
Yeah.
And I guess the same thing applies in the workplace as well. Is like when you're going into a workplace, talking to people that you may not, just kind of understanding what they do and asking them for help, because there's a huge amount of expertise in a big organisation like BNY with people who can help you and want to help you.
I mean,
because you're on their team now.
I guess it's the same for a small company and a huge one like BNY, because I think BNY has it's in the tens of thousands of employees.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people who want to help. So you just need to find them. There's also, I mean, I wasn't really much of a fan of thinking about networking, but there is the element of that if you don't ask people things, or if you don't talk to people, or not talk with people, they're not going to know who you are. So there's that element as well, which feels a bit, it doesn't really come naturally necessarily.
If you can think of a good question, though, that makes the networking a lot easier, because it's not networking then, it's just asking somebody
exactly
stuff. Whereas if you think, I've got to network, I must go and talk to people,
then
what shall I talk to them about? Then it's it feels really false and artificial.
Exactly.
But it's not that difficult to think of interesting questions.
I mean, if you're doing this degree, you're gonna have questions, because it's impossible for everything to make sense all at once immediately after reading a paper or watching a video or someone doing a very quick explanation.
Or even doing a lab. So.
Yeah, you're going to have questions. Just have a chat.
Okay, I think that's a good point to end on. So thank you, Rosie, for coming on the show. We wish you best luck with your new role. You're in Manchester, aren't you? So you're just down the road here. And good luck with your future career at BNY. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Hearing Your Future, the Coding Your Future podcast. You can find out more about this episode and all the other episodes, including transcripts and show notes, at cdyf.me. That's Charlie Delta Yankee Foxtrot Mike Echo. You can also find us on all the major podcast platforms by searching for Coding Your Future. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you found something useful to help you start coding your future today.